We have the mentally ill in charge. They're sick. They're deranged. They start wars and murder people. Yes, it's the beginning of World War III.
Please join us for our next live stream, Sunday, March 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll go over current events, past guests, and of course, gold and silver news. Once again, our next live stream will be Sunday, March 1st, 9 p.m. Eastern. See you then. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vieira. Once again, if you aren't new to this channel or you have not already done so, please do subscribe. Click on the bell to be notified on new updates and give us a thumbs up if you like what we do. We really do appreciate your support. Our guest today is Gerald Celente, founder of the Trends Research Institute. He has been forecasting trends since 1980, and his motto is think for yourself. Gerald observes and analyzes the current events, forming future trends for what they are, not for the way he wants them to be. And Gerald is also the publisher of the internationally distributed quarterly Trends Journal. And we are delighted to have him back here again today as our guest. Good day, Gerald, and welcome back to SBTV. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right up here in colonial Kingston, New York, first capital of New York State, third Dutch settlement, and more pre-Revolutionary War stone buildings here than anywhere else in the United States. And the seeds of democracy was sown here. That was when America was a free country and we had a thing called the Constitution and the Bill of Rights before the politicians took over.
Yeah, I hear you politicians out there. Nasty bunch of people.
There you are.
But Gerald,
parasites.
There you go. Gerald, New World Disorder. You know, we're about halfway through the first quarter of 2020, and so much has already happened in 2020. We started off the year with U.S. military taking action against Iran, followed by Iran's retaliation. And then we have the outbreak of this coronavirus and its impact globally. It's still unfolding. Can you share with us about the New World Disorder and what you have warned in the Trends Journal?
That was one of our top trends for 2020. Look at what's going on around the world. Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, Venezuela, Hong Kong, France, Lebanon, Algeria, Sudan. One place after another, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Cameroon, Guinea. People have had it. They're revolting against the governments. Oh, they just had an election over there in Ireland. The Sinn Féin party won. Nobody expected it. You know why they won? Because the people are losing everything and have nothing left to lose, and they're disgusted with the establishment parties that are so corrupt. The people are living in poverty. All the money's going to the 1%. They have no future. They can't afford homes. There's homelessness. So the New World Disorder is this like I've never seen in my life. And this is my 40th year of trend forecasting. The Trends Research Institute was founded in 1980. I've never seen anything like this. And now you mentioned the coronavirus. That's us as a black swan event. Things happen. But it's much bigger than that. Like I say to people, you worried about climate change? You'll be dead before the climate changes. Look at all the poisons they're dumping in our food, in our air, in the water. I mean, the food is filled with poisons. So the coronavirus, to me, if it is what it is and comes where it comes from, it's going to be something that signals to us, this may not be it, I don't believe it is, but a new black plague. And so things are going down pretty hard, and the people don't seem to be tuned into it. They only seem to be tuned into the headline news.
Yeah. Another thing that's been going on is Brexit. It's finally happened, and you've mentioned that you expect a breakup of the European Union. Can you explain your outlook, and which country do you expect to leave the EU next?
Again, look what happened with Brexit. It took them how many years to give the voice of the people, the true voice of the people. But look what's going on in before coronavirus. Let's take a look at the last quarter GDP in Europe. It went up the grand total of 0.1%. There's a global slowdown. Let's go back to the New World Disorder. What are the people revolting against? Basically globalization and multinationalism. The bigs have taken over everything. When I was a young man, they used to have a thing in America called hardware stores and stationery stores where people went and bought what they wanted. Now you have Home Depot and Lowe's. They control the hardware market. Staples controls the stationery stores. There used to be a thing called drugstores. Now CVS and Walgreens, or Boots over there, many places, they own it all. There's no entrepreneurs anymore. So going back to the breakup of the EU, look what just happened in Germany with the AfD party, the Alternative for Deutschland. There was a big upset. It looks like Chancellor Merkel's party's folding in a lot of ways. I mentioned what happened just last week in Ireland with throwing out the establishment parties. So it may happen from Germany. It may happen from France. It may happen from Italy. It may happen from Spain. It's already happened with the UK. All that the European Union has done is make the bigs bigger and the rich richer. People forget why this happened, by the way, when they came up with the euro. It was pushed by people a generation, not a generation, a generation older than me. I'm born in 1946. So the ones that were born in the 30s, that lived through the terrible World War II, they supported the euro because they believed that they wouldn't have to live through the hell that they lived before if there was one common currency. That's what it was. That's why the people supported it. I mean, it was World War I, World War II in just a few number of years that destroyed Europe. This isn't ancient history. So now the euro has proved to be an inflationary failure for the average person. So I believe that the first shot has been fired in the beginning of the end of the Eurozone.
You touched on there's a bit of inequality going on, and it's a major cause for the New World Disorder. And, it got me thinking, what's the cause for this inequality as well? And as I dug a bit deeper, my conclusion was money becoming dishonest. And, are we really seeing today now the fallout from the U.S. government's decision to sever the ties from the dollar to gold back in 1971?
Oh, definitely. And that was the beginning of it. And again, you know why that happened?
Yeah.
People forget. Because of the murderous war launched by the United States against Vietnam. Yeah. The very costly war that was bankrupting the nation. So they took us off the dollar. And by the way, the person that was the U.S. Treasury Secretary, John Connally, at the time when it happened, I have a photograph of me and him in Dallas, Texas. Uh-huh. He was the governor of Texas, right, that was sitting in front of JFK, John Kennedy, when he was shot. And Connally took the bullet in the back. He was sitting in front of him. So I have a photograph of me, John Connally, and his wife in front of the book depository where Kennedy was allegedly assassinated from. So I know Connally from personally on that level. When I was with him in 1992, he wanted to meet me, and that's his first time back since the assassination to the book depository. And he said to me, if the American people knew what was going on in this country, there'd be a revolt. There'd be a revolution. This is the guy that was the Treasury Secretary when they took us off the gold standard. So it's one big corrupt club. And yes, I agree with you with the gold standard, but the other one is all the deregulation of the antitrust laws, which used to make America the land of opportunity. Now they did away with all those antitrust laws. There's big banks. As I said, there's big hardware stores, big drug stores, big stationery stores, big everything. In 1996, the Federal Communications Act by Bill Clinton, he did away with the laws that allowed little people to own radio stations and television stations, and now they're just owned by the bigs. So that's to me the way it's gone on throughout the world.
Yeah. I guess going back to that conversation you had with Connolly, you think perhaps he was also even referring to, let's say, the military-industrial complex?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he said, I had written the book Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine, back in the late 80s. And he wanted to meet me because I had forecast in that book that in the 1992 election, someone like Ross Perot would be the kind of candidate that people were looking for. And that's what happened. And as we're walking back into the Anatole Hotel, and he said to me, look, he said, I read your book. He said, it's a fine piece of work. And he said, I know your heart's in the right place. He said, but you don't have a clue what's going on. And neither do the American people, because if they did, there'd be a revolution in this country. So, yeah, it was beyond just the financial end. It's the military-industrial complex that's run and ruined the nation. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can listen to General Dwight D. Eisenhower, five-star general, supreme commander of the Allied forces in World War II, two-term American president's farewell address in January 1961, warning the American people that the military-industrial complex is robbing the nation of the genius of the scientists, the sweat of the laborers, and the future of the children. And now you have a little boy in there called Donald Trump, and the future of the children. What did he do? He just keeps increasing the military budget on and on and on to levels far beyond what they should be getting pennies from what with building all this obsolete equipment, starting wars around the world. And you mentioned about Soleimani, the assassination in January, how things changed, and a criminal act, and based on lies. So that's why one of the reasons why America is going down so badly.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that time, that speech from Eisenhower and also Kennedy, he also said something along the same lines in the speech that he also made. Why do you think we never paid attention to it, or we never understood it?
People are cowards. That's basically it. And they don't fight. In the United States, we have this moronic presidential election going on. I call the two parties the Repulsivekins and Dummocraps, because that's all they are. By their deeds you shall know them. They're murderers and thieves. They steal our money in the name of too big to fail and bail out their buddies. And they start wars based on lies and kill millions of people. And what do the people do? They fight, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, keep your political crap up your New York what and don't spill it out to me. I don't want to smell it or look at it. So the people have no fight over here. And they don't have, it's gone. In Canada, the United States, the people have no clue what's going on. And they take the orders that are given to them. What is the difference, by the way, of Trump teaching the Americans to hate the Iranians than Hitler teaching the people how to hate the Jews? What's the difference? Tell me. No difference. What have the Iranians done to the Americans? They haven't done anything. Oh, America's invaded Iraq based on lies. They're in Syria illegally. How dare you try to get us out of here? Oh, you're living over there and you were invited into Syria. The Iranians. The Iranians haven't invaded a nation in 250 years. Look at the destruction America's caused with their wars of lies. I mentioned Vietnam. Gulf of Tonkin incident never happened. Saddam Hussein never had weapons of mass destruction. There was no proof that Soleimani was an imminent threat. Oh, he was a terrible man. Oh, what did he do? What did he do to America? Well, he killed our Americans. Americans where? Who did he kill? Oh, you mean the ones in foreign countries illegally occupying other nations? How dare they try to get us out of there? So what's the difference in hating the Iranians? They haven't done anything to me. I'm an American. I mind my own business.
But getting back to that dishonest money that everyone has to use, how much longer do you think it'll last? And how do you see this endgame where it's finally over?
It's going to get over when the markets crash. And they keep pumping them up. And as you well know, the repo markets, the overnight repurchase markets in the United States, they just dumped another, $79 billion in yesterday. And from September 17th to the middle of January, they pumped in over $7 trillion. $7 trillion. So they keep pumping up it's fake money. So as long as the banksters, the criminal group, they're criminals.
Yeah.
You know, people say to me sometimes, Mr. Celente, you raise your voice and you get angry. Yeah, I raise my voice and I get angry when people try to screw with me. And I say, when was the one time that if I could get angry, Jesus Christ got violent when he picked up a whip to drive the money changers out of the temple. The money changers, the bankers, all right? It's a criminal group. They're making up this crap. That's all it is, so they could keep their gambling addiction alive. They're addicts. And all the central banks are, they're money junkies that keep feeding them monetary methadone. So when does the drug addict die? When they can't get enough drugs. And the central banks are running out of drugs. But don't worry about it. When all else fails, they take you to war. That gets your mind off things really quick.
Yeah. So this money printing, or monetary methadone, as you like to rightfully call it, it destroys the savings and purchasing power of the working people, and basically the working class, they get screwed, correct?
Yeah. And again, that's why you see all these protests going on in the people that have lost it and have nothing left to lose. They're getting shafted constantly. All the money's going to the 1%. I'm not making that number up. The Oxfam report, 26 people in the world have more money than half the world's population. In the United States, 3 people, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, and Bill Gates, have more money than half of America's population. A third of Americans are living from paycheck to paycheck. 70% can't afford a $400 unknown expense.
Yeah.
In debt over $14 trillion, the people, not the government. Almost $1 trillion worth of credit card debt. Again, all the money's going to the 1%. And the banksters keeping the scam alive.
Yeah. You've touched a bit earlier on, where we see countries like Venezuela, Argentina, Zimbabwe, how the purchasing power of the people's savings are destroyed with money printing, causing anger and distrust in the populace. Is it a reasonable forecast that we will see an increasing distrust in fiat currencies and a growing demand for hard money, something that, let's say, is backed by gold again?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at gold prices. The dollar right now is what? This is the highest it's been since October. And gold prices are still high. They haven't gone down. Usually when the dollar gets strong, gold goes weak. Because when the dollar is strong, currencies around the world are down from it, and gold is dollar-based. So it takes more of your money to buy gold. So gold is still strong as the dollar is strong. So that tells you the fear factor that people are looking for a safe haven. And it's not only that, in this 21st century, digital currencies as well. You're still seeing Bitcoin around $10,000 a coin. $10,000 a coin for something that doesn't exist, that you can't hold on to. That's how distrustful so many people are of the fiat currencies.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about that, there's a lot of news lately where central banks they're going to go into a central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. What's your take on that? Is it going to be an easy transition where central banks are going to tell us, here's your cashless digital currency?
Will it be an easy transition? They tell you what to do. All we are plantation workers on the global plantation of Slavelandia. They tell us what to do, and the people take orders. End of story. Look what happened in 1933 in America. A bank holiday. Isn't that a nice word, a holiday? We're going to steal your gold. Give me your gold. Who the hell are you? Give me your gold. Don't you know who I am? I'm the president of the free world, right? What free country? Save it. It's a dictatorship, and it's run by the rich. End of story in a country near you.
Yeah. Give us your gold and we'll reprice it, huh? And get some money on top of it.
After you give it to us, we'll raise the price of it. Yeah. You sell it to us for less, and then we'll make more. It's in front of everybody's eyes.
Yeah.
Where are the people? Where's the courage?
Okay. So let's say we get that courage, and can we defeat the Fed and society's elites if everyone, let's say, starts to buy some physical gold, or at least wake up to what's going on?
Absolutely, you could beat them. It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. Samuel Adams, one of the founders of this nation that got rid of the dictatorship from the Great Britain. It doesn't take a lot of people. See, I believe more in self-sustaining economies. This globalization is only enriching the bigs. You have a country like America, for example, rich in natural resources and human resources. Here, over 90% of our clothing, shoes, imported. Yeah. We used to make the stuff here. And now the people have lousy jobs working in Amazon and their warehouses, Lyft, Uber, gig economy. Isn't that a nice word? A gig economy. So no, it's up to a whole new system. And until we have that, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah, completely agree. One last gold question. How do you see gold in the new world disorder and beyond?
I believe gold is going to spike to $2,000 an ounce when it breaks over 1,600 and about 15. And you could go back to our Trends Journal on September 6th of last year, 2019. The headline read, Gold Bull Run. Gold was at $1,332, and now it's $1,500 and around 70.
Yeah.
I said when it broke over 1,450, it would spike, and it has. I thought it would go faster. I did not know. Remember, I did not know of a thing called a renewal of quantitative easing, that we're not allowed to call it that, and the repo markets where they're pumped in over $7 trillion to boost up the fake equity markets that are way overvalued in their PE ratios. So that stopped the flow of gold from spiking faster, was boosting the equity markets up higher. Because if you go back, we're in a period of negative interest rates and inverse interest rates. Bond yields were inverse bond yields, where the short-term bonds were paying more than the long-term bonds. Inverted curve. So that was very bullish for gold because people are looking for safe havens. So my forecast is gold 2,000. And it's not far away. It'll be probably, if not this year, early next year, because by early next year, I'm forecasting the greatest depression, far worse than the Great Depression. And I believe it'll happen in 2021.
Okay, fair enough. So I guess you're seeing the Fed lowering rates, zero, maybe negative?
Yep. Yeah, 0 to negative rates by October of this year, and they'll use something like the coronavirus, for example. This is affecting the global economy. There's no question about it, but not big time for the short time. It'll hurt the Chinese economy, but Trump will do anything he can to win, and he's going to force the Fed to keep lowering interest rates. You're already seeing in the United States mortgage refinancing, more new home sales because interest rates are falling. And so this is very important. when recession hit in the past, the Fed would lower interest rates, but they go down about 5% because interest rates are so much higher. Now, the overnight rate is only 1.5 to 1.75. So they don't have a lot of room to lower it. So now here we are in February. Let's say they start lowering again maybe in April, give another shot in May, another shot in July, another shot in September, and it artificially props up the markets. All Trump wants to do is maintain his power. He's a narcissistic power freak, just like all the other ones around the world in a country near you.
Yeah. I mean, that repo market, Jerome Powell said he's looking at continuing repo operations at least until April. Are we going to get off this repo market merry-go-round after April, or are we done? It's here forever.
They're liars, all right? Let's go back to when the repo markets hit the news in September. They were going to keep juicing them till November. Then November came around. We're going to keep it going to January. January comes around, and here we're going to April. They're liars. They're thieves. Why can't by their deeds you shall know them. So of course they're going to, as you asked me earlier, what's going to bring down the markets? I said when the addict drug doesn't work anymore. And so it's going to be a point when the cheap money drug dries up.
You've mentioned in other interviews that with the U.S. military action against Iran, the first shots of World War III were fired. Why do you relate this to World War III and not another campaign, let's say like the Gulf War or Afghanistan?
Okay, Afghanistan. Compare the population, economy, technology of Afghanistan to Iran. These are the Iranians, the Persians. They've been around a long time. They're sophisticated culture. If you start messing with them, they're going to mess with you. And look what happened. Again, an outright lie. When Iran retaliated for President Trump's assassination of General Soleimani, and they attacked the military bases in Iraq where American troops were stationed, Trump came out and said none were hurt. Then a week and a half later, 34 were hurt. And Trump said, they just got headaches. And then another week went by, 64 serious concussions, traumatic brain injury. And then what happened earlier this week? It's over 100. And they retaliated with precision attacks. And they could have done a lot more. You have sick people in charge. They're mentally deranged murderers. What's different than, for example, the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner Obama saying, I don't like that guy Gaddafi. I want him out of there. I don't like the way he's treating his people. I want him out of there. And destroying Libya. I want that guy Assad out of there. I don't care if we kill 600,000 people and destroy the country. I want him out of there. What makes him any different than some sick kid or person going into a bar in Dayton, Ohio or El Paso, Texas? I hate the people in there and killing them. These are the people that are running the world. They're mentally deranged. Eisenhower also said anyone that seeks the office is either an egomaniac or crazy. Look at these people spending all their time on the campaign trail. I want to be in charge. I want to be in charge. They're sick. They're deranged. They start wars and murder people for the same reason people are thieves, pathological liars, pedophiles. This is their mental illness. We have the mentally ill in charge. How much more proof do people need? So, yes, it's the beginning of World War III. Look what Trump just did at the State of the Union address. He brought this little boy in, Guaido, the little agent from Venezuela, and called him the president of Venezuela in my House of Representatives. A total disgrace, bringing a foreigner in there. How about regime change right in front of your eyes? The World War III doesn't start in one place. It's a combination of one, and it's the flashpoint. Just like, World War I started when the Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated. Yeah, grow the hell up. It was building before that. Yeah. And again, you saw regime change right in front of your eyes on the State of the Union address in America. And every one of those little low-life pieces of crap, garbage, scum, repulsive-kins and dumbo-crap stood up and applauded for the overthrow of the Venezuelan government. All right? Yep, I shouldn't be angry. I got to be quiet. I should talk more properly, like the English do. How proper they are. The sun never sets on the British Empire as we slaughter people all over the world, steal what they have, but do it in a proper voice. It's true. All these pieces of crap, and the people don't have the courage to call them out.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you're mentioning World War III. I mean, I guess a natural question is how does it end up?
It'll end up the way that when they asked Einstein what weapons will be used to fight World War III, and he said, I don't know what weapons will be used to fight World War III, but they'll be using sticks and stones to fight World War IV. All right?
Gerald, I just want to make sure to congratulate you on your 40th year in forecasting trends. Got to ask you, though, can you share a little bit of your secret on how you're able to predict history before it actually happens?
I study. I study and study and study and study. Yeah. 1 minute. I'll be right back. Half a second. See how the stories are underlined and outlined? You know, so you can see the red marks. See the red marks on it? I go through paper after paper, picking out the salient points of the stories, underlining them, detailing the current events going on around the world, day in, day out. You know, look, see all the underlines of it? So I go around the globe. Yeah, could you see all the markings on there? Every day. Every day. Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. This is just 2 days worth of stuff here. So that's what I do. I study. Study, read the whole stories to find the salient points. So, for example, there's problems going on with the United States and Iran. What do? I go to Al Jazeera. I go to Arab News. I go to Fars. I go to Haaretz, besides the Americans. I want to get everybody's take on it. I don't look at one line on it. And so I also make connections between different fields. So I read from all different areas. So whether it's geopolitics, economics, what's going on in the environment, social change, on and on and on, always trying to see the bigger picture. And understanding that current events form future trends. But the media just keeps hitting on the one big story and forgets about the past. So I keep it going. And so that's what the Trends Journal is. It's what's going on now, what it means, and what's next. So this is the work, again. Yeah. Look, see the whole story. See the red underlines in it?
Gerald, how can we get started with the Trends Journal? Can we just go over to your website and subscribe?
Yeah, trendsjournal.com. There's no other magazine like it in the world. Nothing. And again, it tells you what's going on and what it means and what's next. And people better prepare for the future. And again, to me, it's, and the motto of the Trends Journal, by the way, is think for yourself. We don't tell you what to think. These are the facts. This is the way we see it. So not only do we report what's going on, and then we give trend posts. This is where we see, this is what it means, this is what it, and then we give a trend forecast. This is where it's going. And then we comment on the different things about, so we don't just put it there, we tell you what it means and where it's heading. So there's no other magazine like the Trends Journal.
What should we be doing, Gerald? Last question. What should we be doing to get through what's obviously coming ahead?
Get as strong as you can, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You know, we all have our ups and downs in life. And rather than go down, I built myself up. I doubled down on my workouts and my diet to fight back.
Yeah.
So you fight back. You have to be in the best shape you can.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm telling people to do. And then for the older cats like myself, the older you get, the more you have to do. The less you do, the quicker you go. So fight. Fight for freedom. If I came to you and I started talking down to you and we're face to face, you wouldn't take it for a half a second. But yet you'll take it from a politician that tells you what to do. If Trump, Macron, any of them came in here and said to me, listen, Celente, I want you to do this. I said, excuse me, I didn't get that word out right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. I'm like, hey, where's this?
But I'm just saying, you know, I'm not going to follow your orders. Who the hell you think you are? I wasn't put on this earth to follow orders. So that's what the people have to do. They have to fight for their freedom. Again, they're the people that like to salute and do all that. That's my salute to you. I don't do that trip. It ain't mine. If that's yours, knock yourself out. Don't tell me I have to do that one. I'm a Napolitano, born in the Bronx, born to be free. So that's the way I see it. Okay. Become yourself. Fight for your freedom. My definition of hell is taking that last breath and knowing you weren't the person you said you were or could have been.
So true. Gerald Celente, words of wisdom again. We're going to be sending people your way to your website, and we hope that they do take a look at your work. And I think this is our third time we've had the pleasure to interview you, and your audience keeps growing. I mean, more and more people like your spunk, your style, your honesty, and we appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me on.
That was Gerald Celente, publisher of the Trends Journal. More of his insights on global. That was Gerald Celente, publisher of the Trends Journal. For more of his insights on gold and the global economy, please visit his website, trendsresearch.com. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the SBTV channel to be updated on new content. And do also check out the podcast on iTunes and Spotify.